welcome back to Book It, and today I am again in my kitchen. I am going to cut a melon while I talk today, just because I need to, so I can have some melon for later in this week. So yes, but I want to take time and talk about a book that I just finished, and I want to talk about it. This book is Dear Evan Hansen, by Val. It is a Broadway show, it is a movie, it is a novel, it is everything, and I want to talk about it. So, I have seen the musical, and then I did not watch the movie. I know a lot of people who did see the movie. I know a lot of people joked about like Ben Platt because he played the 16-year-old and he's like 40. So I thought that was very funny. I love those memes. But I want to talk about the actual storyline itself because it's a little fucked up. Pardon my French. So the general gist of the story is that there is a boy named Evan Hansen who writes letters to himself per his therapist is like, hey man, you don't talk to anybody, you don't have any friends, like this is a way to help you kind of like, today's gonna be a good day. So he's like, Dear Evan Hansen, today's gonna be a good day. Dear Evan Hansen, whatever. So he falls behind on his therapy assignment. So he's like, okay, so he's at school one day and he's like, I need to basically write my letter because I have therapy after school, as one does. So he writes his letter and it's like, Dear Evan Hansen, I'm done, like blah, 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 basically. And when he goes to get it from the printer, this guy named Connor has taken it and is like, you write to yourself all the time? Like, weirdo. Mind you, Connor's not like super popular either. But basically, Connor signs his cast because Evan Hansen has a broken arm, signs his cast, and then takes the letter and leaves. So at this point, Evan is like, yeah, everyone's gonna know about my letter. He's gonna tell somebody. I'm super, super whatever. He gets called into the office and it's very sad, but Connor Murphy had committed and he passed away for mental health reasons. So he is basically like, his parents are there and they're like, we found this letter to you. It's the letter that Evan wrote to himself that Connor had stolen, but they thought it was a letter to Evan from Connor. They didn't know. And instead of being like a normal person and being like, yeah, this is a mistake, like he didn't write to me, we weren't really close. Evan's like, yeah, this is what happened, because he has a crush on Connor's sister Zoe, which is like fine, but like, oh my gosh. So he is pretending that him and Connor were good friends. That was his best friend in the whole world. And they're like, okay, well, we never saw you guys together. And he's like, well, we're very private people, which is true. They're both loners. So it was like, okay. So basically this family kind of takes him in because they're like, oh, he was like, our son's best friend. Like, they're like super nice to him. They cook him dinner. His mom is like a nurse and she's always working, or she's in school because she's still in school. She's out here working, mind you, and he treats her like crap. I understand what it's like to have a parent that's in school while trying to raise you, and he's so mean to his mom, but it's beside the point. Basically, his mom's like, is everything okay? He's like, yeah, everything's fine. He doesn't tell his mom any of this because it's a lie. He's not friends with this Connor kid. He never was friends with this Connor kid, yet he goes on and he like fabricates a bunch of emails that the two had between them, and he tells all these stories about how him and Connor like would hang out and love to go tree climbing and stuff, like just a bunch of stuff. And the entire time people are like, oh my gosh, this is so true, but there's like no evidence, like no actual hard evidence. And so he ends up starting a foundation with a girl in his class called the Connor Foundation, which basically they raise money for suicide prevention and stuff like that. And it's a really good cause. The problem is he's the co-president because he was like best friends with the deceased. It's a really messed up concept. And that's what I really want to talk about, was the concept of this book was really messed up. I do like how they basically were like, how it all kind of came full circle and but the thing that irritated me the most, which, like, spoilers ahead, is that after he gets busted, like, after he gets caught, like, hey, you and Connor were not actually friends, and he admits it to the family, like, no, we were not actually friends, nothing happens. Like nobody tells, like, nobody, like, says anything. Like, he continues to be, like, the co-president of this foundation. He, like, continues to basically, like, he, like, gave a speech that went viral, and people were like, oh my gosh, like, but, like, nothing, there's no problems. Like, he doesn't get in trouble with the school, he doesn't get in trouble with his parents. Like, his mom is like, oh my gosh, like, are you okay? And he's like, no, not really. But, like, there's no consequences to him doing this, which I think is really messed up, because, I mean, I understand his point of view. He was trying to be a good person, was trying to, like, you know, be there for somebody who didn't have anybody. But he just, it really rubbed me the wrong way. Why did he, first off, he should have just admitted that it never was a thing. Like, he could have avoided this entire scenario, but instead he went ahead and lied about it. Okay, that's one thing. And then he faked emails about it. Okay, now you're taking it too far. And then he made up stories, and then he gave speeches, and then he did all this stuff. Mind you, he's supposed to be this, like, socially awkward kind of guy, but he's, like, doing all this stuff, and, you know, he starts dating, like, Zoe, because they, like, had a connection, that they were both, like, only people that really, like, miss Connor and all this stuff. And, like, it's very, very sad, but at the end, there's no consequences for his actions. Like, it doesn't, like, he's like, yeah, he obviously, like, walks away from everything, and he, like, you know, kind of goes back into his shell, like how he was at the very beginning of the book. But, like, there's nothing that's sustainable. So, personally, like, if it was realistic, he would have gotten in, like, serious trouble. I mean, he probably would not be going to the school he went to. And then we also kind of learned that Connor was fruity, and I love that. But the only friend that Connor actually had was a guy that, Miguel, I think. They were, like, actually, like, friends, and, like, Connor liked him a lot. And, you know, Connor had a really bad mental health day where he thought he was completely by himself, and that's why he took his own life. And it's very sad. The story doesn't focus on that, though. The story focuses on Evan and, you know, his basic delusion that caused him to not only lie to himself and to people around him, but lie to the family that is going through something like that. And I personally, not a fan of it. The book was fine. I think the writing was good, but I didn't like the plot at all. I really wanted to put it down and not read it, but I told myself I'm reading my physical TBR this month, so I kind of have to. But I just really wasn't a fan of the book. And I talked to one of my friends who is also, like, she loves to read too. We were discussing books over, you know, the weekend, and I told her I was reading it, and she was like, oh, I read that. And I was like, what'd you think? She was like, I didn't like it. And I was like, okay, why? And she was like, it just didn't flow as well as she wanted it to. And, like, the concept was, like, an okay concept, but it just wasn't executed properly. And I totally respect that. But yeah, so personally, Dear Evan Hansen is not my cup of tea. One thing a melon's done. I definitely do want to watch the movie, though, because the idea of Ben Platt playing a 16-year-old when he looks a good 45 is hilarious to me. I loved, like, the TikTok memes where they're like him walking down the hallway, and it was like, don't talk to him. Are you a narc? Like, funny stuff like that. What else did I put in my notes? I didn't even look at my notes this entire time. Oh, I said I think he came from a nice and good place trying to be, like, the only friend, but I think people will be able to narrow it down that they weren't actually friends. Oh, something that happens in the book, spoiler, is the girl, the co-president of this foundation with Evan, releases the note that Evan wrote to himself, but he said it was from Connor, and it was deemed, like, his suicide note. That would not be allowed. Because he's like, oh my gosh, it's on the internet. Take it down. Cops would have, you're not allowed to post stuff like that. Especially with a brand new, like, suicide. No, you can't do that. But yeah, no, that's it. I think this was a one-time book. As in, I read it one time and I don't think I'll pick it up again. I don't think I'll really recommend it either. Just because it's not my cup of tea, and that's okay. Some people love this book, I don't. But yeah, that was Dear Evan Hansen. I wish I liked this book. The musical I thought was okay. I'm gonna actually watch the movie because I really want to watch the movie. But no, Dear Evan Hansen. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 in my personal opinion. But yeah, that's it for that. I just really wanted to get on here and talk about Dear Evan Hansen while I was chopping some melons. I'm going to be recording a lot of videos today, so I was like trying to multitask. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Let me know if you actually enjoyed this book. Did you enjoy the musical? Did you like the movie? Where can I watch the movie? I want to watch the movie. So that's it. And until next time, thank you for watching. Bye!